Going into the 2023-2024 season, there's not a lot of expectations on what to expect from the Toronto Raptors, but if you ask Scottie Barnes, he expects great things. Barnes did an interview with CBC and had some very interesting comments when looking forward to this season for the Toronto Raptors.
Just going there and be myself, I'm always a high energy, enthusiastic person. Step more into a leader role. Losing Fred was a huge loss, but it just opens up more opportunities for other people, myself, other people on the team to just be able to grow their game, develop. It's a learning process, so we're all just going to go through this together. We got a whole new coaching staff. They've been bringing a lot of energy. It's been great.
So what can you tell the fans to expect for the upcoming season?
I would say expect great things from us. I feel like we're going to do really good this year. Through the highs, through the lows, just bear with us, and I feel like we're going to do good things this year.
Spoken like a true Torontonian. Thank you, Scottie.
Thank you.
Well, Noor Zainab, Scottie Barnes expects great things this year from the Toronto Raptors, but let's focus on him today. You look at this guy, rookie of the year, had ups and downs in the second half, his second season, my biggest question, Noor, is you look at the numbers, you don't really see a great improvement. But when you look at Scottie Barnes, how imperative is it for him and the Toronto Raptors that he actually takes that next leap that he didn't take last year?
It's super important as a player, for a team, for the franchise, for fans, for winning. It's so important because your goal should be to improve each and every year. It's not to stay stagnant. It's not to move backwards. It's to improve each year. Now, I know Scottie kind of stayed at the same level to the point of he had the same points both years at 15.3 to the decimal point, which is a little bit crazy. But I don't think it shows too much about Scottie because that was his second year. We can chalk that up to a sophomore slump. You can chalk it up to the annoying twos, But what happened for the Raptors that year, I think, was more important in regards to what happened to Scottie, because that was a reaction to how the Raptors were performing, what was happening in the locker room. There was so much that was, amongst disarray. There were so many things that were going wrong, and there were so many personalities that everyone kind of had to cater towards, that Scottie's growth wasn't being prioritized. And we saw that with Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse only wanted to have players on who can kind of prove themselves, and if they have one bad game, you saw that they would get benched or would have less minutes moving forward. And that mentality was about winning. It wasn't about growth. So he did whatever the team had to do to win. At no point was it about Scottie being given the opportunity to kind of grow more into his own role. Now, could he have played and performed better to his caliber? Absolutely. But again, he was young. It was his second year, and the Raptors were dealing with so much that he couldn't really live up to what he wanted to do. He kind of got lost in the shadows. And as he mentioned, now at this point moving forward, which I love that he highlighted this, you have a whole new coaching staff. So anyone who had problems in the locker room last season, no matter where it stemmed from, it was players, it was front office, it was the coaching staff, whatever the level might be, you have now turned a new leaf by bringing in a new coaching staff, and one that is prioritizing development. The whole point of Darko and his team being brought up is to focus on the young guys, because you have Scottie, you have Grady Dick, you've got Marcus Noel, you have so many young guys who need attention now, and their growth should be prioritized. So I think last season, as much as we wanted to see more from him, I understand why we didn't, but at this season, the test will be there for Scottie to see how he grows with the actual attention on him.
I want to push back on one thing you said.
Okay.
Do you think Vision 6'9" is kind of catered towards Scottie Barnes? That whole Vision 6'9" was kind of dedicated.
No, because Vision 6'9" was there prior to Scottie Barnes.
Was it? But like when you saw that, okay, you came in Rookie of the Year. They want to build, that similar body type to Scottie Barnes. Build a roster around that. When I look at Scottie Barnes, right, there's no question that he has all the tangible things. He's got the body. He's got, we've seen the vision in flashes. We've seen, the offensive ability in flashes. I think, though, it's up here. right? You talked about the leadership and all the different egos and stuff like that. It's very widely publicized that Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet had problems with the younger players, right? And one can assume that was probably Scottie Barnes.
I don't think Pascal Siakam did, but Fred, yes.
Fred VanVleet did, for sure. So when I look at this, okay, you lose Fred VanVleet, you lose a tough, rugged leader in the locker room. Pascal Siakam's still there, Jakob Poeltl's still there, Gary Trent Jr. is still there, OG Anunoby is still there. But this team is only going to go as far as Scottie Barnes will take them this year, I believe. Scottie Barnes, you think about it, right? You know what you're going to get from Pascal Siakam, right? It's pretty given. You're going to get your 22 to 25 points per game. He's going to be, around a fringe all-star this year, right? An all-star, fringe all-star area, right? You know what you're going to get from OG Anunoby, right? Again, 15 to 17 points, play excellent defense. Same with Gary Trent Jr. You know what you're going to, those guys are established. You know what you're going to get, right? You know you're going to get streaky shooting from Gary Trent Jr. But can Scottie Barnes take that leap to become that guy? Can he go from being a 15-point per game player to a 17 to 20-point per game player? Can he be a guy that commands more attention from the defense on the offensive side of the ball, that opens things up for Pascal, opens things up for Gary Trent Jr., opens things up for OG Anunoby? Can he be that point forward that they want him to be? Can we see that vision and that playmaking last the whole season? That is what I think. We know he has all the skills, but to me, does he have the mindset to last a full 82-game season to prove that? That's what I need to see from Scottie Barnes.
I would see. No, I'll push back on that. I don't think that's fair because he's one of the youngest guys on the team. To put that pressure on him, again, I know he was drafted 4th. I know he is the kind of the future of this team because you do kind of cater it around him, but he is not the main guy on the team right now. It's still Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam is the one who is going to carry the offensive load. But what I will say to your point is last season what had gone wrong with the team had a lot to do with the egos and what had a lot to do with the locker room issues, right? And a lot to do with who had the ball. And we can chalk blame up to anybody, but there was a sense of I don't know, something coming out of the team that the young guys did not get along with Fred. And that was because they thought that he had the ball constantly. To which I will say, like, whether he did or did not, because the team at that point was beyond Scottie, it was kind of like he didn't really have to have the ball. So I think now this season moving forward, because he's going to have the ball will be in his hands. We know that there's been discussions of Scottie being a point guard or a point forward. There's a lot of people out there who'd rather see him in that point forward position, but I think Scottie himself wants to be point guard. If you look at his Instagram bio, it legit says PG. He wants to be a point guard. And you can see that vision when he passes the ball. He might not be as dominant as we want him to be in the paint, kind of as destructive, because you see him having the body type of like someone like Giannis, he kind of bulldoze through anybody, but he becomes more of a facilitator. And I think in that role, like, we can see growth in that. And maybe with Freddie gone, we got Dennis Schroeder, but you're gonna need to have more guys trying to create space and opportunities for each other. So I think in that regard, like, we can see improvement from Scottie this year, but just what had gone last year, you kind of have to chalk it up to team problems.
I get that. I get it. We could definitely see,
because if you look at, like, let's look at teams like, where the young guys are leading the team, like Cade Cunningham.
Cade was injured last year.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, who the team is built around. Like, those guys are the team. Cade Cunningham is the team. Paolo Banchero is the team. Jalen Green is the team. Can I
finish?
So those things, like, when you have those guys who are the reason why you're creating the future through them, you give them the priority. But because last season we had guys like Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, who also wanted that ball and that attention and that offensive load for themselves, you saw Scottie kind of go in the shadows. And the team also didn't really prioritize him, where they would have done the same had we not had Fred or Siakam or OG or Gary Trent there. Which is like, that's why I'm like, I think it's not the same scenario as other young guys, because Scottie doesn't have the team the way those guys do, if that makes sense.
Well, you look at what the moves that happened this offseason. Fred VanVleet left, right? Pascal Siakam trade rumors are still swarming everywhere. So one could say that this was the first step in moving towards building around Scottie Barnes, right? Who knows how long Pascal Siakam is going to be in Toronto, but we do know Scottie Barnes is going to be here, right? They're the ones, the Raptors put that pressure on him, right? They said, we're not going to include him in any trade for Kevin Durant. We're not going to include him in any trades for Damian Lillard, anything like that. That, whether the pressure is there or not, it's there, right? Whether he wants it there or not, that pressure for him to be the face of the franchise, the cornerstone of this franchise going forward, that's there for him. He has to accept it. He has to understand it. He has to realize that, okay.
But I don't think he doesn't not want it, because he does want it. It's just there were so many other people that also wanted it.
And that's why I'm saying this year right here is massive. I want to see, okay, you say you want to pick up a leadership role. You want to take a bigger role. Well, the biggest voice in the locker room is gone now in Fred VanVleet. Okay, let's see what you can do. Show me. Prove to me that you can take a leadership role.
Prove to Justin Pooni.
Prove to me and the rest of the fan base. Because look, if he doesn't improve this year, this team is going to be exactly in the same spot, maybe even a little bit worse than they were last year, right? They need to have an improvement in Scottie Barnes, right? I get it. His vision is there. I can see him being, maybe not Draymond Green on the defensive side, but that point forward, that guy who can, really see the ball, has great vision, can kick the ball out, right? Maybe a better offensive skill. He needs to work on a more consistent jump shot, though, Scottie Barnes. I really think that is him that can really open up his game. He has the skill set. I've been saying it all year last year, right? Scottie Barnes can, if he chose to and really focus on it, could be an absolute force in the post. You hear former NBA players like Kevin Garnett, like, DeMarcus Cousins say, if Scottie Barnes wants to be a bully in the post and play that way, he could dominate in the post because he has the body type. He has the moves in the post to do it. And it'll open up. He has the vision for it as well. This season is critical for Scottie Barnes. I need to see an improvement in him because yes, he won Rookie of the Year, but he didn't improve last year, right? You see the flashes can't stop. We need to see a consistent Scottie Barnes this year. You're in year 3 now. We know, yes, he's still early in his career, but in the NBA, things are moving faster. It's a young man's game now, right? And you need to evolve and grow your game and develop, right? I've seen a lot of videos of Pascal Siakam working out in the gym, right? I'm seeing him put the work in.
So
right?
you saw Scottie Barnes as well. He's working out as well. Why are you coming so down on Scottie Barnes?
Because I'm not coming down on him. I'm saying he's supposed to be the face of this franchise. He's supposed to be the next in line to take this franchise. We're now entering the Scottie Barnes era. The Fred Siakam era is on its last legs. One of them is already gone. It's now the Scottie Barnes era in Toronto, right? What will he do? Will he be a guy that will command the locker room and become that all-star that people think he can become? Well, that it's now.
I think that's a lot of pressure on
the pressure's there, whether he likes it or not.
I don't even know if he's legal enough to be out in Toronto right now, but I think it's a little bit of pressure because like for him to even say leadership, I kind of feel bad he said that because maybe he wants it, but now the expectation has been put out to say that he wants to be a leader, so he's going to be criticized from that point of view. But the issue there is he's one of the youngest guys on the team, so if you want to do leadership, you also have to be able to kind of like command that voice and have the people listen to you. And I just hope that whatever had gone wrong last season has kind of been figured out and even not brushed under, just completely figured out, because if that trickles onto court like it did last season, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be another season we're going to be like, okay, well, I haven't seen my team or my guys, or that'd be Pascal Siakam, Scottie Barnes, whoever it is, live up to expectations. But I'm excited. I think this year has low expectations. I don't think the Raptors are expecting, like the fan base. Why are you laughing? I think it's a low expectation year.
You're excited for low expectations because then you can't get disappointed.
Then you can get. Yes, of course. You know about this. You're the Seattle Seahawks fan.
Seattle Seahawks won yesterday.
You have to have. I love the idea of low expectations, just because whatever happens from this point forward, it would not be good. If it's good, you're like great. If it's bad, you're like expected.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Scottie Barnes, does he need to be an all-star or contender for an all-star spot this year for it to be successful for him? What quantifies a successful season for Scottie Barnes?
Oh man, well, I think that also has to deal with with the team doing well as well, right?
Leave the team out of it. Just say him.
Okay, maybe not this year. I will say the year after, but I would like to see him. I would like to see him get close to it. Okay. To the point where it's like it's almost a conversation. Okay. Exactly, it's a conversation.
I think I need to see Scottie Barnes.
I want to have a conversation. I want to see him.
Maybe we'll have a conversation later on as the season goes along.
I hope so.
Right? Scottie Barnes, you need to get at least 20 points a game this season to be a success. You need to start dominating more. But we will be talking more about the Raptors as training camp looms. October 3rd is when NBA training camps open up. And you know that we at Hoop Talks will have it all here for you. Take care.